Every video on Deep in the Money covered calls teaches the same thing: bear market protection. Turn your stock into a bond, ride out the cycle. I've run this exact trade for years, and not once for protection. I use it to capture dividends. It's the version almost nobody on YouTube teaches. Hi, I'm Liav from Option Samurai. Let me show you how I use this trade and how it differs from what other YouTubers tend to show you. Quick refresher in case you need it. A covered call is just 100 shares you own with one call sold against them. That's the whole trade. The main choice is which strike you sell, and it can sit anywhere on the chain. Sell it out of the money and you get income. At the money gives you the most income. Deep in the money gives you income plus downside protection. And that last one is what today's video is all about. Same trade. Where you put the strike changes everything. The point I want to make here is a comparison between deep in the money covered calls and cash secured puts. Most of you watching already know what a cash secured put is. And here's the thing, I want to be clear. Structurally, a deep in the money covered call has the same payoff shape as a cash secured put at the same strike. I mean, look at them. It's the same hockey stick, as you could call it. So why would you ever pick the covered call, considering that selling a put is surely easier than buying shares and selling a call over them? I can give you at least two reasons. First, you collect the dividend, which a short put can't give you because you don't own the shares. Second, because you've actually committed more capital when you bought the shares, you should expect a better return for that capital. The trade-off is clear, and it goes both ways. A short put is really easier to manage, and you don't have the shares capital involved. So I'm not telling you that one is better than the other. I'm telling you they're not actually the same trade, and the choice depends on what you actually want out of it. So as I was saying earlier, I use this trade to capture dividends. Suppose you find a stock paying a dividend in the next 7 to 10 days. You sell a deep in the money call, but which expiration date should you pick? The one rule I always keep is that I never pick an expiration before the X date. After that though, I'm not chasing the closest one. A lot of the time, I'll deliberately go 2, 3, even more weeks past the dividend. Because what I'm really hunting for here is time value. So why go further out instead of grabbing the first expiration right after the dividend? I have two words for you: time value. The further out I go, the more time value the call carries into X day. And time value is the whole game here. And more time value does two things for me. One, it's simply more money in my pocket. Two, it makes me genuinely indifferent to whether I get assigned or not. If I do get assigned, I collect the return I was after just faster, and that frees my capital for the next trade. If I don't, I just pocketed more premium than I otherwise would have. Either way, I win. Honestly, I'm usually trying to get assigned because closing the trade and redeploying the capital is a feature of the strategy, not an issue. The one exception is when the dividend is big enough that I'd rather keep the position. But ideally, I build the trade so I genuinely don't care which way it goes. Now I'll be straight with you, deep in the money calls don't always carry much time value, so there's no guarantee the position survives to X day, and like I said, I don't need it to. If you get assigned, that's a perfectly fine outcome anyway, because your shares would simply be called away. If you'd rather avoid it, there's a 10-second check I'll show you later. And here's why I like this trade. There are two outcomes, and both of them are fine. The first outcome is that X day passes, I collect the dividend and the trade keeps running. The second outcome happens when the call buyer exercises early. I lose the shares, but I free up my capital faster, and my ROI per day in the trade actually goes up. I want to share a quick note on why this works at all. When a call buyer exercises early, they pay the strike, they get the stock, and they forfeit the remaining time value in the option. The stock then drops by roughly the dividend amount on X day anyway, so they're not really stealing anything by exercising. For most rational call holders, keeping the time value is worth more than grabbing the dividend. Now, will the buyer exercise early? Depends on one thing. If there's time value left, they'll usually sit tight, especially if time value is worth more than the dividend. If there isn't, and deep in the money calls often have none, expect to get assigned. No big deal. You own the shares, they just get called away. So it comes down to time value. If it's there, the buyer usually holds. If it's not, you get assigned and your shares are called away. Still fine. At this point, I need to address the thing that probably just popped into your head. Say stock ABC is trading at $200, and I sell a $170 call against my shares. Doesn't that mean if I get assigned, I'm selling at $17, 30 bucks below where I bought them? Big loss, right? No, and this is a mistake I sometimes find on Reddit when people talk about options. When you sell a call that's already in the money, the premium you collect already contains that gap. The buyer is paying you for the $30 of intrinsic value built into the option, plus a little time value on top. So instead of collecting $2 like you would on an out-of-the-money call, you're collecting something like $32. That brings your net cost basis down to around $168 a share. So when the call gets assigned at $170, you're selling shares with a $168 cost basis at $170. That's a profit, not a loss. The deeper in the money you go, the bigger the premium, the lower your cost basis, and the bigger the buffer underneath you. The trade-off is the time value shrinks the deeper you go, which is why max profit on a deep in the money call is small. Small, fixed, and very high probability. Oh, and if you want to see more videos like this one in your feed, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Back to it. Let me show you how I actually find these trades. I'm not scrolling through earnings calendars or cross-referencing dividends by hand. That's a waste of a Tuesday. In less than a minute, you can build a scan like this one on Option Samurai. I'll walk you through what's on the screen. At the top, I picked the covered call strategy. Then under descriptive data, I set the dividend date to fall after expiration. That's how I make sure every result I see is a stock paying a dividend before the call expires. Under fundamental data, I just asked for any stock with a dividend yield above 0. It's a basic filter that just gets rid of anything that doesn't pay one. Then I set the moneyness between -50 and -30, so the call is sitting deep in the money and days to expiration below 30. So I'm staying short-dated and keeping the time value working for me. And I'm sorting the results by decreasing annualized return, so that I have the most appealing trades on top. Now, depending on the time of year, you'll get more or fewer tickers. Companies don't all pay dividends on the same schedule. Right now, these are the names that fit the setup. From here, I just click into the trades that look interesting and check the P&L. And the best part? You can rerun this scan anytime you want, or set alerts so the platform pings you the moment new trades match. The option to turn alerts on is at the top right corner of the scan. I told you earlier that if you get assigned in the dividend capture trade, it's fine. You free up capital. Your return per day actually goes up. So why am I spending a whole section on assignment? Because depending on the type of trader you are, there may be one specific version of early assignment that isn't fine for you, and you need to know how to spot it. Suppose the buyer exercises right before the ex-dividend date, so they collect the dividend instead of you, but you get to keep the rest of the time value of the trade. Perhaps, however, you have your own reasons to try and avoid assignment. So the good news is that you can generally anticipate assignment with a 10-second check that tells you whether you're at risk before you ever put the trade on. Okay, so when does the buyer actually pull the trigger before X day? I want to be clear. As long as the call has more time value than the upcoming dividend, exercising early is irrational. The buyer would be giving up something worth more than the dividend they'd grab. So they will likely choose not to exercise their right to buy shares. But when the time value drops below the dividend amount, the math kind of flips. Now exercising is the rational move, so the buyer will likely grab the dividend, forfeit a small amount of time value, and come out ahead. So in that case, you just get assigned, which with deep in the money calls, you should half expect anyway. This means you just keep the full return you locked in when you sold the call. The only thing you gave up is the dividend itself, and if that's what you were after, you're not stuck. You just roll the position out, which is exactly where we're headed next. But before you roll, here is the rule of thumb I use, and it takes about 10 seconds to check. Look at the put at the same strike and the same expiration as the call you sold. If the put is worth less than the dividend, assignment is likely. If the put is worth more than the dividend, assignment is less likely. And like I was saying, you can simply roll your trade if this is something that's worrying you. Okay, put versus dividend thing is not an exact rule, meaning it's not a formula you'd put in a textbook. But still, it's a clean signal that often gets it right. And if the check comes back red with the put being worth less than the dividend, you're not stuck. You just roll to a later expiration, where the put is worth more than the dividend. Time value goes back up, the math flips back in your favor, and the buyer's incentive to exercise disappears. And if you're using Option Samurai, dividends are surfaced in the scanner, so you can see this before you ever enter the position, not after. Okay, now that we've covered the two angles I actually use this trade for, let's talk about the framing those other videos lead with. Because it's not wrong, I simply feel it's just not the main trait of these trades. When you sell a deep in the money call against your shares, you cap your upside completely, and you create a big downside buffer. The position stops behaving like a stock and starts behaving more like a bond. A small fixed yield on the upside with a cushion against modest drops on the downside. So you're good unless something really catastrophic happens. That makes this trade really useful in a bear market, especially when the VIX is moving above 20 and call premiums are fat enough to give you a buffer worth having. In calm markets, the buffer is too thin to be worth giving up the upside for. So yes, this is real. Just treat it as a side benefit, not the reason you're running the trade. And I have two more things to tell you about this strategy. First, liquidity. Depending on the stock, very deep in the money strikes can be thin, wide spreads, low volume, painful fills. Two practical fixes. Either go less deep, take a smaller buffer in exchange for better fills, or go further out in time, where you'll usually find more open interest and tighter spreads. Both are fine. Second, and this matters more, do not run this every single month. Capping your upside cycle after cycle means you miss every rally that actually grows your account. Run this on the same name for a year, and you'll almost certainly underperform just holding the stock. This is a tactical trade. You run it around dividends, or you run it when the market volatility is screaming, not as a yield machine. We're real options traders with a passion for trading. Click here to see the next video, or go to Option Samurai to start a 2-week free trial.